Well, terrorists have not hit America again since 9/11, but a new documentary warns that the danger of terror attacks in the U.S. is greater than ever. Chris Mitchell has that story.
It's called Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West.
Obsession is an attempt to reveal and educate the American public on what the aims and goals and strategies of the radical Islamists are, and it's something to be afraid of.
Raphael Shore is the producer of Obsession.
The movie Obsession was critical, actually, to come at this time because most people are unaware that radical Islam has declared war on the West, and they appreciated it for a few days after 9/11. But because there has been no more attacks on mainland United States, they don't realize that the effort is still there across the globe to try to undermine the West.
While the film notes many Muslims are peaceful, it reveals a significant number of Muslims worldwide are committed to an Islamic agenda to overthrow Western civilization and take over the world for their radical brand of Islam. The film documents public statements of Muslim leaders, imams, and commentators from throughout the Muslim world. Their statements are brutally clear.
أمريكا هي العدو الأول للأمة الإسلامية لأنها تخوض حربا ضد هذه الأمة العربية.
الولايات المتحدة عدوة العرب والمسلمين والإنسانية، وعلى كل إنسان بما يقدر ويستطيع أن يقاوم هذا العدو.
من يملك أن يقول كلمة في الجهاد الحق هذا ضد المحتل، ويقدم بيوت ويقدم شباب وتضرب رقاب وتنسف جماجم. هذا خط النصر والشهادة والتضحية.
The documentary includes insight from the Muslim world from those who grew up within the culture of jihad.
When I saw the second airplane hit, I knew jihad has come to America.
Nonie Darwish is one of those people. Darwish grew up in an Egyptian family in the Gaza Strip and learned firsthand what it was like to grow up in an atmosphere where jihad ruled.
Well, Nonie is now with us live. She's telling her story in a new book entitled Now They Call Me Infidel. And Nonie, welcome to the 700 Club.
Thank you, my pleasure.
You're very courageous for coming out this way. But, you know, what I find fascinating is your story. I mean, your father was a martyr, and he died carrying out attacks against Israel from Gaza. Why did you, I mean, that's a radical change. And how did it happen?
It was very hard. It wasn't easy to change, and everything we were taught as a value as a child suddenly became so repugnant because it made us hate and envy and anger. It didn't bring out the best in me, and I rejected that. I felt that jihad took away my father as a child, but I couldn't dare say it because it was the highest aspiration for a Muslim man or any Muslim. It's the only guarantee to go to heaven is to die in the process of jihad. And jihad is a religious holy war against non-believers. That's what it's taught in Al-Azhar University, the oldest Islamic university in Cairo. It took me many years to discover the Lord, and thank God I did.
So many of us in the West, we have a hard time wrapping our minds, and I think even our hearts, around the whole concept that a religious group would hate us so much that they were willing to die to kill us. I mean, and yet we hear countercurrents in Western culture that Islam is a religion of peace, that jihad is an inner struggle. But your experience says, no, that's not the case, and that from early childhood, you're taught to hate and kill.
Yes, this is the value we grew up with. I never heard the meaning of jihad as an inner struggle, except in the West and also after 9/11. But in the Middle East, the meaning of jihad was known to all of us. It's taught from birth, practically. It's in every song. I never heard a song about peace. peace in Arabic. Most of the songs were about jihad and conquering the world to Islam. And this is the tragedy, because the Arab people and the Middle East people are very warm and kind and good people, but they are being indoctrinated with all this hatred. And it's such a shame, because we have to start making peace with the rest of the world. And we're unable to do that with the current way that they teach all this hatred, pure hate.
I watched the reaction of Muslims around the world to 9/11, and with the exception of Malaysia, which condemned the attacks, most of the Muslim countries didn't. And what they tried to do was stop the celebrations in the streets. But that, for whatever reason, went unreported in America, or thinly reported. Why is that? Why can't they come out and say, you've hijacked Islam, this is too extreme, too radical, and we condemn it? Why can't they do that?
I think neither the West wanted to show it, nor the Middle East wanted to show it. But the truth is, after 9/11, I was devastated, because my culture of origin was attacking the country that I love and cherish, America. And what happened is I called a lot of people in Egypt, friends, family, just acquaintances. I wanted to know the reaction. Each and every one of them condemned me. How dare you say that this was done by Arabs and Muslims? Don't you know this is a Jewish conspiracy? Have you become so Americanized that you really believe that Arabs are behind this? And I hung up the phone, and I just discovered that I can't believe that how reality is not clicking at all in my culture, that they are denying the simple truth that 19 Arab and Muslim terrorists did this, and they don't want to face what was wrong in their culture that produced all of that. It is such a shame, because how can we resolve this in the Arab world if the first step, which is acknowledging that we are responsible for 9/11, is not even on the table?
Do you have a perspective on how to get through this? I mean, it seems like we're, as much as people want to say we're not in a war of cultures, it's not a religious war. It certainly looks that way in Iraq today. And not only is there attacks against U.S. and British and Australian forces, it's also Sunni Shia conflict on top of that. And how do we get through this? I mean, what's the solution here?
The solution is from two fronts. The West have to be more united. They have to speak about it. Movies like Obsession has to be shown on every television, because not only Americans need to see the enemy, what we say in Arabic, they have to, the Arabs themselves and the Muslims themselves have to see what the radicals are teaching and how it impacts the rest of the world, how unfair it is to non-Muslims to preach such hatred. And unfortunately, until today, the West is so politically correct. They don't want to offend. But the truth is, Arabs and Muslims are human beings. They need to see it for themselves from the point of view of the West. So I encourage that we start really look within ourselves as Arabs, Arab Americans, Arabs in the Middle East, who have to really see where is all this hate going to lead us to. Because at the very end, when you teach hate and when you teach jihad constantly, the way I was brought up and all the Arabs are brought up, it eventually comes home to roots. And what is happening now is that terrorism is turning its ugly face right inside where it originally came from, inside the Arab world. Look what's going on. It's Muslims are killing other Muslims everywhere. It's in Lebanon now, it's in Iraq, it was in Algeria, it was Iraq and Iran, it was Iraq and Kuwait, and it's in the Sudan. And we have to see that it's way beyond non-Muslims. It has become part and parcel of how we see the world. And we have to look really within. And I welcome the new interpretation of jihad. The only thing that we need to do is start asking Muslim religious school to start teaching jihad the way they really want to teach jihad. But don't just advocate that Islam is a religion of peace only in the eyes of the West. It has to be in the eyes of Muslims.
It is scary. And Nonie, again, I applaud you for being so courageous, and you're literally putting your life on the line. The book is available, and it's called Now They Call Me Infidel. It's available in bookstores everywhere if you'd like to get a copy. I just encourage everyone listening, please get educated on this.